The freight elevator groans open to a corridor of mirrored steel and desert wind. Jessica doesn't wait for the doors to finish sliding. She slips out in a black pencil dress and low heels that move like blades. Her earpiece crackles. Arabic, Korean, English. Security chatter braided into noise. She mutes it. The 22nd floor of the Biko Tower smells like chilled marble and money. At the end of the hall, a man is arguing with a waiter. The tray wobbles. Champagne flutes tremble. Jessica sees it. The waiter's collar pin is 2 millimeters too high, the kind of detail that doesn't happen in a luxury launch. She closes distance like a shadow. "Leave the tray," she says, calm, direct. The waiter turns. Eyes wrong. Posture wrong. He dips a hand under the towel. She catches his wrist with a quiet snap, pivots, and the tray clatters harmlessly into her free hand. "What's under the towel?" she asks. His answer is a headbutt. She leans aside. Marble, not skull, takes the hit. He sags. She strips a thin blade from the tray's underside. Magnet taped to the rim. Cheap. Amateur. She kicks the blade into a floor vent, drags the man to a maintenance door, palms it open, nudges him inside, and locks it with a code she shouldn't know but learned anyway. The music from the ballroom swells. Strings and synth. Money and menace. She breathes once. Smooths her dress. Walks into light. The Dubai skyline pours itself into glass. Burj Khalifa distant like a spear, desert night pressed against the tower's skin. Inside, people glitter. The launch of Biko's new private equity arm is an orchestra of diamonds and sharp smiles. She moves along the marble like tidewater, scanning angles, exits, faces. She's supposed to be invisible, the personal assistant most guests never notice. But Jessica is hard not to notice. Curves that make men forget their wives. Eyes that make them remember their sins. At the edge of the crowd stands Kwon Ji-ho. Not a tux. A midnight suit with lapels like razors. He's still, the way predators are still. He doesn't look at the skyline. He looks at everything that could break it. When he finally turns, catching her reflection in the glass before catching her, the room adjusts around that look. His expression doesn't change, but something in the air does. He steps closer. He's taller up close, and colder. "You're late," he says without greeting. "I just saved your guests from an ugly headline," she says, voice even. One of the waiters brought a blade to a champagne fight. His gaze slides past her to the corridor. "Handled. Sleeping it off in a maintenance closet," she says. Security can collect him when they stop flirting with VIP badges. Jiho's mouth thinks about being a smile and refuses. "You're new," he says. "But you already sound like you've been here too long." "I'm efficient," she says. "And I don't like people bleeding on marble." He looks at her the way a jeweler looks at a stone under a lamp. Noticing grit, clarity, heat. The orchestra crests, a photographer's flash pops. A bored heiress laughs like ice cracking in a glass. Jessica tries to move past. He blocks with silence. "Walk with me," he says. "It's not a request." They cut through the ballroom, her stride steady, his measured. Whispers trail them, little fish chasing a shark. He pushes a door, and they step into a private gallery where the city noise hushes. Abstract canvases hang like secrets. The air is cooler here, clean with machine hum. Ji-ho doesn't face her. He talks to the city instead. "You came with perfect references. You also came with a Lagos phone that went dark 2 days before you took this job." "I lost it," she says. "You didn't file a police report." "It was old." He nods like a man filing a detail in a drawer. "You walked like military. Then you corrected it. You hold your breath when elevators stop. You count exits without moving your eyes. And when you think you're alone, you touch your left wrist, scar tissue under foundation." She doesn't look at her wrist. He still doesn't look at her. "Why are you really here, Jessica?" he asks. "Work," she says. "Work for me," he says, and at last turns. "Or work against me. There isn't a third option in this building." She could lie. She could tell the story she rehearsed. Graduate degree, family in Surulere, need for speed and salary. But the way he is looking at her, like a riddle carved into obsidian, she chooses the thing that keeps people alive. A portion of the truth. I'm here because I'm very good at preventing disasters, she says. His eyes flick to her mouth, to the angle of her jaw, to the line of her collarbone where heat meets silk. He steps close enough that she can count his pulse beating calm at his throat. Close enough to smell cardamom and steel. No man can have you except me, he says quietly, as if testing the sentence on the glass before giving it to her. Not in this building. Not in this city. As long as you work under my roof, you are mine to protect, mine to command, mine to keep breathing. The words should feel like a cage. Instead, they land like a shield built of knives. She refuses to step back. I don't belong to anyone, she says. His eyes flash. Not anger. Recognition. Make sure the board hears that when they try, he says. Because they will. His phone vibrates. He glances down, and something shifts behind his face. The donor from Manama. He's early, he says, and the cool dissolves. We're moving downstairs. They exit the gallery and take the private stairs. Jessica kills her earpiece and listens to the building itself. The throb of sub-basement chillers, the softened thunder of a distant club floor, the faint thwick of security gates resetting. The stairwell door opens to a corridor lined with smoked glass. Ahead, a meeting room that looks like a black card grew walls around it. 3 men wait inside. Not donors. Not from Manama. The one in the center wears prayer beads and an expression that never prays. He smiles with half his mouth. Mr. Kwan, he says in a voice like velvet over a blade. We come bearing congratulations. Jessica scans. Watches, rings, shoes, hands. Right pocket heavy on the man to the left. Gun. No. Phone battery pack. The congratulator in the center carries no visible weapon. Which means the weapon is the room. Ji-ho takes a seat like a king takes a throne he plans to sell by morning. Jessica stands behind him and to the right, where she can see every reflection. The center man's eyes flick up and down Jessica as if appraising a vintage car losing value by the minute. Your assistant is distracting, he says. Focus, Ji-ho says without turning. On business, the man agrees. He slides a velvet pouch across the table. It lands with a hush that sounds expensive. A gift. Ji-ho doesn't touch it. Names, he says. The man doesn't offer one. He instead nods to the glass wall. A TV wakes up from black. A live feed flickers, rooftop helipad, wind-scraping night, red lights pulsing like a heartbeat. A man in a catering uniform is kneeling. Hands zip-tied. Another man holds him there with a boot. Jessica feels it before she understands it, the cold that climbs your spine when the present tense is a trap. She studies the kneeling man's face. The waiter from the corridor. The center man looks delighted. We found your sleeping friend. We thought you might want to watch what happens to people who come into your house with knives. The helipad camera zooms. The boot presses. The waiter looks up into wind too loud to hear. The man with the boot draws something from his jacket. Short, ugly, efficient. Jessica's throat is suddenly dry. She leans closer to Ji-ho's shoulder, and the center man notices, pleased. If you would like him to stop, he says softly, simply accept our partnership terms tonight. It would be a romantic beginning. Ji-ho doesn't blink. Turn it off, he says. Afraid of blood? The man asks, teasing. No. Ji-ho says, eyes on the man's, not the screen. I don't negotiate during performances. On the helipad, the man with the boot raises the blade. Jessica moves before she knows she's moving. 2 steps forward, palm on the table, a breath like a weapon. Stop the feed, she says, voice low, steady. Right now. The center man laughs. She speaks. She calculates, Ji-ho says. Jessica's eyes don't leave the screen. She sees a shadow slip in from frame left. Quick, low, a different energy. Security. Or another problem. The rooftop wind shreds the picture into grit. The blade flashes down. The screen cuts to black. Silence plates the room. The center man places his hands together as if concluding prayer. Partnership, he says, rolling the word like a coin. Or more unpleasant surprises elsewhere in your building tonight. Ji-ho stands. The chair doesn't scrape. He buttons his jacket like he's sealing a wound. He steps once to the side, and the air in the room leans toward him. You walked into my house, he says, voice silken in threat. You insulted my staff. You tried to sell me fear. You're leaving with nothing. The center man grins wider. I don't think so. Behind the smoked glass, lights begin to go out across the floor in a ripple, row after row, a dark wave swallowing brightness. Jessica's phone, the one she shouldn't have brought into the secure corridor, vibrates once against her thigh. No caller ID. Just a message that crawls across her lock screen. Run. Rooftop. Now. She looks up. Ji-ho is already looking at her, as if he read the message in the muscles of her face. Move, he says. The center man reaches for his pocket. Too slow. Jessica is through the door, heels biting marble, a streak toward the stairs. Ji-ho is behind her, faster than a man who wears suits should be. Alarms begin to whisper from the ceiling, not yet committed to screaming. They hit the stairwell. Wind echoes. You know who texted you, Ji-ho says as they take the steps 2 at a time. I know we have 30 seconds to keep this building from bleeding, she says. Then give me your 30 seconds, he says. She does, left of the maintenance landing, up the service flight, ignore the keypad and hit the hinge with her palm. Old trick, new door, and they're on the roof, night slamming into them like surf. Red beacons strobe. The city is a bowl of light. And at the center, the helipad, empty now. No waiter, no boot, only the suggestion of a smear dragged to the edge where wind eats evidence. A shadow peels out of the darkness by the turbine housing. A voice that used to be a lullaby in another life says, Jess. Her heart stops. Starts again as a different animal. Don't, Ji-ho says quietly beside her. Whatever you think this is, don't let it be that. The shadow steps closer, face coming into the slice of the beacon. Scar across the cheek. Eyes that knew her once in a different city, a different name. Long time, he says. I told you I'd find you. Jessica's world tilts. Past Lagos. Past the scar on her wrist. Past every lie she wrapped around the truth to live through last year. Who are you to her? Ji-ho asks, and the wind steals the answer. If you're leaning in right now, hit subscribe, like, and turn on the bell. Because the next move on this rooftop changes everything. The wind softens as soon as the helipad door slams behind them. The rooftop is quiet now. No shouting, no threat, just the deep hum of the tower breathing beneath their feet. The city glitters around them like a bowl of molten gold. Jessica stands in the center of that rooftop, her silhouette carved clean against Dubai's night. Ji-ho stops 3 steps behind her. He doesn't speak. He just stares. Her dress is still hugging her from the ballroom, curves that bend light, a waist he's been trying not to notice since she started working for him. Up here, with the wind pressing the fabric tighter against her hips, something in him shifts. Low, slow, quietly dangerous. She turns. Why did you bring me up here? His jaw clenches once. Because downstairs, I don't have room to think. Think about what? You. The word comes out carved, not spoken. Jessica blinks. Just once. The wind pulls at her dress again, and Ji-ho looks away, for a heartbeat, then looks back with more force than before. You're beautiful, he says. Too beautiful. It sounds like a confession wrapped in irritation. I didn't ask to be. She folds her arms, which only pushes her chest higher. He notices. He tries not to. Fails. I know, he says. And yet every man in that ballroom saw you walk in and forgot why they came. A beat. I almost did too. Something warm moves across her stomach. Sir, that is not my fault. No, he says, stepping closer. It isn't. But it's my problem. She breathes differently now. Lower. He steps closer again, not touching her, not even reaching, but the heat off his body touches hers anyway. He smells like black cardamom, cold metal, and something male that settles behind her knees. Jessica, he says softly, do you know what you look like when you walk through a room? She doesn't answer. He does. Like temptation wearing perfume. Like danger pretending to be polite. You walk past men and they forget their wives. You walk past me and I. He stops himself. You what? She whispers. He swallows. Hard. And when he continues, his voice is lower. I want things I should not want. Her heartbeat stumbles. You shouldn't want me. I know. His gaze drags down the line of her dress, slow, unashamed. And yet here we are. She steps back on instinct. He follows, slow, deliberate, letting her know without touching her that he can close the distance whenever he chooses. Her back meets the cold steel of the safety rail. Ji-ho braces one hand beside her hip, not touching her, but caging her in wind and heat. No man can have you except me. He says it quietly, the way truth sounds before it becomes a command. Not in my building. Not in my presence. Not while you look the way you look. Her breath catches. I am your assistant, sir. This isn't appropriate. Nothing about what I feel is appropriate. Another inch closer. But I don't want appropriate. I want you. The words land on her skin like warm fingers. Look at me, he says. She does. His eyes are darker now, something molten sitting behind the black. You think I didn't notice the dress? He asks quietly. You think I didn't see the men staring at your body? The curve of your waist? The way your hips moved when you walked through the ballroom? Her cheeks warm. He leans in, breath almost brushing her ear. I fired 2 security officers tonight, he murmurs. She freezes. Why? They stared at you too long. A shiver climbs her back. This is, she begins. Dangerous, he finishes. Yes. For me. For you. For everything I built. Her voice is almost a whisper. Then stop. He steps even closer, their bodies not touching but almost, the kind of almost that makes the whole world feel too small. I don't know how to stop wanting you, he says. And after today, I don't think I want to. Her breath is trembling in her chest now. What do you want from me? His answer is slow, raw, sincere. I want you where I can see you, where I can protect you, where no man can touch you, where no man can even imagine having you. His hand lifts, stops midair, hovers at her waist without daring to rest there. That dress, he says, voice dropping like velvet over fire, should be illegal. She exhales shakily. Why? Because it made me forget my own rules. The city keeps shining. The wind keeps breathing. Her heart keeps tripping over itself. And Ji-ho, the man who never loses control, looks at her like she is the one thing that could ruin him, or save him. Tell me to stop, he says. She opens her mouth. What comes out is not what she planned. Don't stop. His eyes sharpen, heat, danger, desire folding into one thing. If you want the next part, where this heat gets even more dangerous, hit like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. Jessica's breath catches the second she sees the look in his eyes change. Not softening, not hesitating, but deciding. Ji-ho steps forward, and all the air on the rooftop pulls tight between them. She tries to turn, but his hand finally settles at her waist. Firm, possessive, claiming. Jessica, he says, voice lower than anything he's used with her before. Don't run from me. I'm not running, she whispers. You're trembling. I'm cold. No, he says, leaning in. You're not. His thumb presses lightly into her waist, and her knees nearly buckle. She grips the railing behind her, fingers digging into steel. Look at me, he says again. She lifts her eyes, slow, unsure, and the moment their gazes lock, something inside him snaps. He steps into her space completely, trapping her body between the rail and his chest. His hands cage her hips, not hurting, just holding like a man who has finally stopped pretending he doesn't want to. Jessica exhales a shaky breath. Sir, This is too. He cuts her off softly, dangerously. Don't call me sir when you're shaking for me. Her stomach flips. The wind presses her dress even tighter to her skin, outlining every curve he has been fighting to ignore. His fingers flex at her hips, slow, deliberate, claiming the shape of her. No man can have you except me, he says again, quieter, hotter. I meant every word. She swallows. What are you doing? What I've wanted to do since the first day you walked into my office in that white blouse. Her chest rises sharply. Ji-ho. Say it again. His forehead almost touches hers. Say my name. Ji-ho, she breathes. His hands slide up her sides, stopping just under her ribs, his touch warm even through the fabric. He lowers his head to her neck, not kissing, just hovering, letting his breath spread fire over her skin. Her hands clutch his suit jacket. Please, she whispers. He freezes. Please what? He asks. Her answer is barely sound. Don't stop. Something raw flashes across his face, hunger mixed with restraint, danger braided with desire. He lifts her chin gently, forcing her eyes to stay on his. You're playing with fire, he says. You lit it, she whispers back. His jaw tightens. He leans in, slow, claiming, unhurried like a man enjoying the struggle more than the victory. Jessica, he murmurs, if I taste you tonight, I won't give you back. Her breath catches hard. Tell me to leave, he says. One word, and I walk away. She doesn't speak. Tell me no, he demands softly. Silence. His grip tightens on her waist, a deep inhale shuddering through his chest. Then you know exactly where this goes, he says. He lifts her, effortless, controlled, and her back presses fully to the cool steel railing. She gasps, hands tightening around his shoulders for balance. Ji-ho. He stops her with a look. Not harsh, not cruel, but absolute. From the moment you walked into my life, he says, voice a low vow against her throat. You belong to me. Her heartbeat kicks wildly. And tonight. His forehead rests against hers. I stop pretending otherwise. He leans in, closer, closer, until their lips are a breath apart, the world holding still. Morning hits Biko Tower like liquid gold pouring down glass. The city is soft, quiet, unaware of the storm that rewired two people on its rooftop hours ago. Jessica walks into the executive floor with her heart beating in a rhythm she doesn't recognize. Her steps are slower. Her breath, deeper. Her skin still remembers hands that shouldn't have touched her, a voice that shouldn't have said her name that way. Every sound feels louder today. Every pair of eyes feels sharper. She reaches her desk, pristine, organized, yet her fingers hesitate over the keyboard. Because everything looks the same. But nothing feels the same. She senses him before she sees him. Ji-ho steps out of his office silently, suit crisp, tie darker than his mood. The moment he appears, everyone straightens as if gravity just tightened. His presence shifts the air. Sharp. Controlled. But beneath the control, something else. Something that belongs only to her. He doesn't look at anyone. He looks directly at Jessica. And stops walking. A second too long. A breath too heavy. A stare too private. Enough for two interns to glance at each other. Jessica forces her gaze down. Jessica, he says quietly. Her head lifts instinctively. That alone is dangerous. In my office, he adds, voice low enough that only she hears it. Her pulse jumps. She stands and follows him inside. The door closes. The world stays outside. Ji-ho doesn't sit behind his desk. He stands with his back to the city, hands in his pockets, shoulders tense in a way that makes him look almost human. He says nothing for a few seconds, and she knows he's choosing his words like weapons. You avoid looking at me, he finally says. You shouldn't say things like that, sir, she says softly. Stop calling me sir. The words cut clean. You didn't call me sir last night. Heat crawls up her neck. We don't have to talk about that. Ji-ho turns. Slow. Measured. His eyes are darker than the suit he's wearing. That's the problem, he says. You think what happened can be ignored, buried, pretended away. She crosses her arms, trying to shield herself from how exposed she feels. It was a moment, she whispers. A mistake, even. His expression sharpens, offended, wounded, then dangerously calm. A mistake, he repeats softly. You think my wanting you was a mistake? This could cost me my job, she says. You think I would fire you for making me feel something I haven't felt in years? She breathes unevenly. Ji-ho, I'm your assistant. And he steps closer. Does that make you untouchable? Off limits? Another step. Or does it make you mine? She steps back instinctively, but he catches her wrist, not harshly, just enough to stop her retreat. Look at me, he says again, but this time it's not a command. It's a plea wearing armor. She lifts her eyes and regret instantly stabs her chest, because his gaze is burning, conflicted, wanting her more than he's prepared to admit publicly. I don't know how to navigate this, she whispers. I do, he says. Stay close to me. Listen when I speak. Trust that I will not let this destroy you. And if it destroys you, she asks. He smiles faintly, a rare, private smile meant only for her. I've survived worse than wanting a beautiful woman. She looks away again, flustered. He releases her wrist gently and circles behind her, but not to distance himself. He stops close enough that his breath grazes her shoulder. Come to the gala tonight, he says. I wasn't invited. You are now. What will people think? That you are my assistant, he says. A beat. And that I am not a man they should test. She turns slightly. Are people testing you? His jaw clenches. Yes. Because they saw something last night. Something between us. His voice drops. And I don't share well. Her heart skips. What do you mean? I mean, he says, moving in front of her again, eyes locked on hers. If another man touches you tonight, looks at you too long, breathes near you. He stops himself. Barely. Her voice trembles. You'll do what? His answer is quiet but lethal. I will remind him that no man can have you except me. Her knees weaken. And if I don't belong to you? She asks softly. He steps so close she feels the warmth from his chest radiating onto hers. Then tell me that, he says. Tell me you don't want me. Tell me nothing happened between us. Tell me you don't feel this. His hand lifts to her chin. Stops. Hovers. Waiting. Tell me, Jessica, he whispers. That I imagined everything. But she can't. Her lips part, but no lie comes out. And he sees it. His control fractures. Just a little, enough for emotion to cut through the steel. Tonight, he says, stepping back with ruthless restraint. Wears something that makes it impossible for me to think straight. She inhales sharply. And Jessica, he adds at the door, his voice a velvet threat. If any man at that gala touches you, even by accident, he meets her eyes. He answers to me. The gala begins like a slow exhale of luxury. Crystal lights, velvet shadows, and the hush of powerful men pretending to be civilized. The Biko atrium is a cathedral of glass tonight, each chandelier dripping gold like melted stars. Jessica walks in alone. And the room stops. Her dress hugs her body like it was stitched onto her skin. Deep wine red, shoulder-bearing, waist-snatched, a slit running up her thigh like a whispered dare. Every head turns. Every breath pauses. Two men drop their conversations mid-sentence. One billionaire almost spills his drink. An ambassador's wife nudges her husband. Hard. Jessica feels their eyes crawling over her curves, but she keeps walking, spine straight, steps slow and deliberate. What she doesn't see, yet, is the man watching her from the mezzanine above. Ji-ho. He stands at the railing in a black suit that looks like night learned how to breathe. His gaze follows her through the crowd with a focus that could start wars. His jaw tightens with every male stare that lingers too long. He whispers something to no one. A sound shaped like jealousy, quiet but lethal. Jessica moves toward the champagne table, pretending she isn't aware of the attention. Her skin warms under the lights. A tall businessman approaches, smile too soft, eyes wandering too freely. "Good evening," he says, lowering his head with a practiced charm. "I haven't seen you here before." "I'm here for work," she answers politely. "Work?" He leans closer. Too close. "Impossible. A woman who looks like you shouldn't work at all." His hand reaches toward her arm. He doesn't touch her, because someone else grabs his wrist mid-air. Ji-ho. His grip is calm, controlled. But the room feels the temperature drop by 10 degrees. "That hand," Ji-ho says quietly, "belongs nowhere near her." The man stiffens. "Mr. Kwon, I didn't realize." "You didn't realize who she is to me," Ji-ho finishes. Jessica's breath stumbles. The crowd watches. Whispers begin to ripple outward like heat waves. Ji-ho steps between them, blocking the man completely out of Jessica's sight, placing his body as a barrier she didn't ask for, but suddenly needs. "Leave," Ji-ho tells him softly. "Before I forget, this is a charity event." The man retreats fast, nearly tripping over a chair. Jessica exhales shakily. "You didn't have to." "Yes," Ji-ho cuts in, voice low, hot, dangerous. "I did." She looks up at him, and instantly regrets it. His eyes hold wildfire. Wanting. Possessive. On the edge. "Ji-ho," she whispers. "People are watching." "I don't care." Her chest tightens. "You look." He stops, searching for a word powerful enough. "You look like sin that learned to walk upright." "Ji-ho. You think I can stand in this room and watch men devour you with their eyes?" He continues, stepping closer. "You think I can watch them imagine touching what I nearly lost control over last night?" Her lips part. She can smell his cologne, dark, warm, intoxicating. "This dress," he murmurs, gaze dragging down her body, slow like a man tasting with his eyes, "was designed to kill me." Her pulse races. "You told me to wear something distracting." "I didn't tell you to ruin me." A violinist begins a slow song in the corner. Soft, aching. Ji-ho's hand hovers near her waist but never touches. It's worse. More intimate. More dangerous. He leans close enough that his breath brushes her cheek. "Jessica," he whispers, "every man in this room is thinking the same thing I am." She swallows. "And what is that?" He looks at her mouth. "That no man should have you except me." Her knees falter. He catches her waist, not roughly but firmly, pulling her subtly behind a marble column, away from too many eyes. "Ji-ho, people will talk." "They already are." His thumb moves once against her waist. Slow, claiming. "But let them. I want them to know." "Know what?" His forehead touches hers. Barely. "That you belong with me. Whether you admit it today, or tomorrow." Jessica's breath trembles in her chest. "This is too much," she whispers. "No," he says, voice lowering into a promise that sinks into her bones. "This is only the beginning." Before she can speak, someone on the balcony above shouts, "Mr. Kwon, you should see this." Both turn. A screen lights up overhead. A photo. Jessica. Ji-ho. Standing far too close on the rooftop last night. Gasps rise. Cameras lift. Whispers ignite into wildfire. Jessica's blood freezes. Who posted that? Ji-ho's expression hardens. Cold. Furious. Protective. "They're coming for you," he says quietly. "Or coming for me, through you." She steps back. He grabs her hand, without hesitation this time. "This gala is no longer safe," he murmurs. "Stay with me." "Where are we going?" His grip tightens gently. "Somewhere the world can't touch you." A beat. "And where no man dares to try." But Jessica didn't know whether he was leading her into safety, or into something she might never escape. Because when a man like Ji-ho claims someone, he never gives them back. Family, what do you think? Should Jessica trust him? Or run before it's too late? Hit like so the story reaches more people. Subscribe for part 2. Comment her fate. I'm reading everything.